Hi, welcome to Earthmother Starchild. I'm Natasha Astara, and I'm here today to have a really great conversation with Jennifer Connery, who is an intuitive insight coach. And I have had the pleasure of having some sessions with Jennifer, and she is amazing. And I think she's really helped me unlock some blocks and move forward on my path and becoming visible and doing more of my soul work and my joy work. So, hi, Jennifer, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Oh,
That was
my
gorgeous.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Jennifer, tell me a little bit about your work.
Sure. So, as you had mentioned, I'm an intuitive insight coach. So, what that means is that I weave a few different modalities into the work that I do. Um, Part of those include clairvoyant readings. So, for those who are privy to the word clairvoyance, it does mean to see. So I will tap into whatever's going on for my clients. And it's whatever they're really wanting to heal, create, or overcome for themselves on any level. And what we'll do is we'll get into the session, get real clear on what the client is presenting with and what where they're really wanting to be, where they see themselves and what they feel is interfering. Sometimes there's a lot of awareness around that, and sometimes there's not. And so when there's not, I'll go into that intuitive space and kind of peek around, so to speak, in this way of what I like to call like an energetic x-ray. So I'll be looking spiritually from a spiritual standpoint at different stories and catalysts to what's really at the root of what's preventing people from tapping into either their purpose or finding more self-worth or confidence, whatever's going on. And a lot of the times I may see stories from when they were growing up, maybe past, present, maybe future, um, and just different areas that are really wanting to be healed and just waving and screaming to just have some momentum in there and just to peel some of that away. So then I'll bring that awareness into the session. And then from there, we'll go into the coaching piece where I begin to ask some really powerful questions and allow the client to really tap into what's true for themselves. And so instead of just me taking up that space, telling them what they need to do where they're at, which is helpful to a point, I believe. Um, I think it's also really equally as important to bring in the client into the session and allow them to seek what's true for themselves and to tap into that. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I came for one of your sessions and we did it online, didn't we? Did it over Zoom, and I
Mhm.
wasn't kind of sure about what I would want us to look at. But I just knew that I was really stuck, like in a really stuck place in my business, and a stuck place in my personal life, and a stuck place in my like finances. I just felt really stuck. And what I found it really great in our session was like you kind of went in and could see, the bit where I was feeling quite
Mm.
stuck. And I think we were talking about something about connection or something that I was really struggling with, like connection with others or connection with my audience. And I found that
Mm.
after our session, I had like a bit more clarity about who I was as a being and maybe what
Mm.
caused my stuckness. So I found it really, really helpful. So
Beautiful.
what I was kind of interested in, because you had some really lovely insights into, I think past lives came up, and you had some really kind of good healing, and also like problems in this lifetime that have caused me to, perhaps get stuck.
Mhm.
And I'm just really interested to know, like, have you always known that you had a gift in this area, like you were a clairvoyant, or really strong intuition? Have you always known that, even when you were a child?
Hmm. That's a great question. And that's a question a lot of people will ask me. Because I know that there's many intuitives out there that knew since they were like 4 or 5, they started talking with the angels. For me, that wasn't the case. I knew I was sensitive, though I didn't have any idea what that meant until far into my, I would say, late 30s. And it wasn't until my 30s I started tapping into the self-development world. And I think I dabbled in it before then. but then started hearing the word empath coming up quite a bit and started kind of looking into what does that mean and really resonating and identifying with that role, but still really not having the tools on how to go through life and how does that help me in any sort of fashion. Knowing I'm an empath, how does that help me? So fast forward years later, I ended up discovering this program, and I discovered it, I guess, somewhat on accident. So I was searching, as a lot of us are, for answers and meaning and healing in my life. I had gone through a huge period of time in my life where I was really ill. I had chronic fatigue syndrome, and it was just draining. And I was a single mother, still am, at that time, but really, really having a difficult time managing that. And so I was looking for answers everywhere I could, naturopaths, physicians, nobody could give me these answers. I didn't find the healing until I discovered this woman who was a medical intuitive. And I happened to get a reading from her, had no idea what to expect. And it was very different than what I thought I was going to expect. I thought she was going to be like this medical doctor with this x-ray, looking into my organs. I had no idea like what to expect. I was like, you know what? I've tried it all. Let's just do this. The price was right. I was like, what do I have to lose? So through the session, we discovered, well, what had shown up through a lot of my questions was my past. Okay, like past trauma, past issues, people in my life, situations in my life, all of these different areas. And a lot of it I knew, I was aware, yes, I remember that happening, this happening, but I didn't know how it affected me on a cellular level until she brought it to my attention. So I took a lot of meaning from that. And through that period of time, I was going through, kind of a long story short, a situation, a relationship. And I started noticing for myself the mind body connection in there really strongly. And it was one of those relationships that served me for the time it served me for, yet at the same time triggered a lot of my issues. So I'd leave the relationship feeling light, a lot more vitality, be in the relationship feeling heavy and tired. And these physical symptoms were very, very strong. It was very obvious. I remembered that medical intuitive offered a program. So I ended up jumping headfirst into her program for 2.5 years studying clairvoyant energy and energy work. And it changed my life. So I literally discovered that I had the ability to read energy. And this is something we all possess. And I wanted to just share that, if you're a light worker, sensitive to energy and open to it, that it's possible to tap into that realm. And so, yeah, that's how I discovered clairvoyant energy and the ability to read through that program.
And I have to say that you are a really excellent reader. You are. I mean, I've had so many, I come from a clairvoyant family, and I've had so many readings, like 30 years of readings, and you were like really insightful. It was like right in there, and I knew that you were on my page, basically. It didn't take a lot of setting it up or trying to communicate. It was just really resonant, and that's when I know there's a really good reader like working. And I was really happy to have that opportunity. So just for our listeners and our watchers, what would a session be with you like? What would it be like? I mean, I can sort of explain what my experience was, but it might be better that you tell us what someone comes along and they're stuck or they've got a problem. Just talk me through the motions of what you would do.
Sure. And I'm happy to have your feedback as well, if that helps at all. So how it looks is that we would hop on a call together, me and the client, on a Zoom call, much like we're doing now.
Yeah.
And that allows me to really connect on a deeper level. I used to do it by phone, but now since Zoom has taken over our world, I absolutely adore it. And there's a really deep felt connection that way. So we'll kind of get a chance getting to know each other, finding out, what's at the crux of why somebody's really wanting support, and take that time to just chat and just see what's coming up. And then from there, we'll go into whatever the issue is that they're wanting to look at for that session. And sometimes it might be a few. So then I'll go into the clairvoyant space around that. So my eyes are closed through that space. And usually for maybe about 20 minutes, I'll just stay in that space, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And it's really beautiful because what shows up is never, I never see the same thing twice. I see a lot of symbols, stories, pictures that show up with different meaning. And so I'll be looking at it and then conveying that to my clients in a way that they'll understand. Because the spiritual world is very different than the 3D world. So what shows up over there might be, somebody flying over a mountain. So I have to try to convey that to somebody in a way that they'll really have meaning and purpose to and really resonate with.
And I found like everything you were saying to me had real meaning. It wasn't just images or words picked out of the sky. It was things that really, like I could feel it in my body when you were telling me. I was like, oh yeah, this is absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so once I really get that idea, then I'll explain it in a way that it makes sense to the person. And then we'll kind of just start to explore that area a little bit. What was that like for you? What came up for you? How has your life been since that moment? And how does that show up in different areas of your life? And then we begin into the coaching phase where I'll start to ask some questions like that. How would your life be different if you had a different viewpoint, if you were able to see yourself and the world through, eyes of maybe faith or joy or hope, where you felt stuck, and depending on what the issue is and what they're dealing with, I'll just kind of have them get a glimpse of what it could feel like on the other side. So really taking into account the subconscious and the conscious mind and weaving those two together and getting them out of the story, out of that victim stuck place into what's possible. And for some people, it takes time. It can take, it takes what it takes. I tell people when they ask, well, how long will it take for me to achieve X, Y, and Z? And I say, well, it takes what it takes. I mean, if we've been operating from a place for 20, 30, 40 years of same mentalities, same belief systems, then it may take longer or it may take quicker. And everybody works at a different pace. But so through this, we'll do some coaching around it. And then what I like to do is really allow the client to tap into what's true for them and have them have more of an experiential experience on their own and close their eyes. And we'll do more of a personalized guided meditation, which I like to bring in. And I bring in music, really beautiful music into this experience and allow them to tap in, allow them to find the answers and allow them to find the solutions. And I'll be there guiding them, providing them with all of the tools that I have that I've learned in the last 6 years. So that's what they'll gain. And then they get a walk with the beautiful guided meditation that they can have at their disposal anytime. And and ongoing support through our sessions as well.
Yeah, amazing. I really think the work you're doing, Jennifer, is just so powerful because I could actually, even though you're in Hawaii, I'm in England, I could feel the energy moving and things being released out of my energy field while we were working. And I was just really blown away by it. Yeah, so I really recommend anyone thinking about working with Jennifer to get on it because it was really, really beautiful experience.
Thank you.
So I really love the fact that you're talking about being an empath, because I think that's a word that sort of appeared, hasn't it, in the last kind of 10 years. And before then, we were just probably highly sensitive people, or
right.
And so I think this word empath is really helping us understand this really kind of precious gift that we've been born with, that we've incarnated in this physical body with this really heightened awareness of emotion and energy and what's around us, what's in the field. And so, for other people that are sensitive and empathic, what are your tools or advice that you would give for looking after themselves? How do you look after yourself and your sensitivity?
Yeah, beautiful question. I think the idea around understanding our gift first is important. Understanding that there's nothing wrong with us first and foremost that's what came through when you said, we used to be highly sensitive people. And I'm guessing, growing up in that arena, may have created a lot of shame for some people, maybe, or just feeling just different and out of sorts, and realizing it is a gift, like you're saying. Yeah, it
Absolutely. It's a
absolutely,
superpower the whole
it
way. It's a real
is. It
superpower.
is. Yeah. But we also need tools to navigate, being as sensitive as we are. I mean, we have these beautiful gifts and abilities, yet at the same time, it takes that much more energy and effort to navigate through the world and feel balanced and shrug things off, and a little bit more energy to do that. So as far as tools, I have so many in my tool belt. Some of my favorites are one I like to call just running your energy. And that's something I bring into the sessions. Really beautiful way of connecting and grounding. So a lot of people have heard grounding cords, heard of grounding cords. So I'll have my client create a grounding cord of their choice and really feel what that feels like, just to be connected to the earth. And some people have never even felt just that idea, and really tapping into the idea that, our mind with these energy tools, for some people, it may seem a little foreign. It may seem a little woo woo. It may seem like, wow, can this really work? And I'm telling you,
It does. It does work.
it does work. Our mind is so powerful. I mean, this is the same mind that you can give a sugar pill to and have the same exact effect of an actual medication. So the idea around the placebo effect and, quantum physics and all of that. So energy work is real. And, the more real you believe it, then I think the more you can tap into it. So aligning with the grounding cord, as well as connecting to source. So I'll always have my clients, as we're going into a session, imagine a cord of light or a tube of light, connecting them to their higher power, their God of their understanding, whomever they really feel that support with. Maybe some clients have never really felt supported. So then we work with that, and I have them imagine just connecting to the sky, to the stars, something very simple and basic, so they can just really feel supported, connected, and aligned. And even just those two tools in themselves, I feel bring in a lot of healing. And then from there, we begin to do what's called running the energy. Yeah. So bringing in the earth, bringing in the cosmic energy, and just sitting in that space for about 10 minutes. And just doing that alone is enough to literally, I mean, I've changed my mood in like 10 minutes, going from, okay, I'm having a frustrated, hard day, to, oh my gosh, this is what my body needed, in like 10 minutes. So it's really powerful. Yeah.
I love that. That's a really good tip. Because I find that if my energy dips, if I get low, it can feel like, oh, I'm never going to be able to shift out of this. And I can definitely remember times in my teenage years and in my 20s when I would go low, and it would be like it felt like it would last forever.
Oh yeah.
And as I began to realize that the tools of meditation, and just like you're describing here, like connecting down into the earth and like connecting up, and then trying to flow your energy, like how quickly we can change from one state which feels like, oh, the world is ending, to to joy, and recalibrate back into love and universal kind of life space. So I think that's a really wonderful tip. So Jennifer, you know that I'm interested in people living their soul purpose, particularly indigos, star children, star seeds. This is one of my things that I have, it's on my radar for people to be living their soul purpose. And I really felt like when we did a session together that you are living your soul purpose. Do you feel like you are? Do you feel like this is why you came into Earth this time?
Oh, as you're talking, it's just bringing like these beautiful tears of joy. I definitely feel like my guides are coming into this question very strongly. Yeah. I think in the last 6 months, it's been really evident. And the more I've worked through my stuff, the more I've recognized and been able to see my abilities, and just the power through this this work that I do. I've seen it firsthand in ways that I haven't in the past. And the more I notice it and the more I connect with people and see the results that people are left with, the more it really allows me to feel fulfilled. I feel like there's this never ending wave of possibilities for me. And I feel like it's not just one thing right now. So I'm in the midst of just exploring what else is there, what else is there to heal myself and help others, and being just really open, staying open to other ideas. Recently, one of the most recent things that had come to mind through a few sessions was these guided meditations. And that's something that just kind of came in, that I started doing, but realizing that I was really good at it and people were having really beautiful results from it. So, wanting to take that to another level as well with these guided meditations. And
I could,
yeah.
and I could so feel you doing that, because
Hmm.
when we're speaking, like even now, like my guides are telling me that you had lifetimes in the temples, like in the temples of Atlantis, the temples of
Mm.
Lemuria, and like these kind of big crystal temples where you would use your voice as like a resonant, um like a resonator that would heal and help activate people.
Wow.
So I think, yeah, this is, this is you living your living you. This is you doing you. And that's
Hmm.
how it should be, isn't it? um
Yeah,
so it's lovely to hear
absolutely.
you express that this is part of your soul purpose, but you're also expanding into other areas that feel, like a reclaim of your power, your personal power,
Mm.
and your abilities. Oh, wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you. And it feels, it's like, you're on a soul purpose when it feels natural, when there's no like tension around it, when it just feels like this is, I had a friend say, this is your jam. That was the word she used. This is your jam, Jen. And I got to thinking about it, and just to kind of put that out there, because I know there's so many people that are looking for their soul purpose and wondering what that is.
Mhm.
And it's like you get curious and you stay open to possibilities, and you feel into what feels really good despite what might be rational, and despite any fear. If we can put fear aside, then tapping into the purpose comes
Yeah.
really easy, and a lot, just with a lot more grace. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my focus is that we let go of the conditioning around what kind of work looks like and how we're going to earn money and all this sort of stuff, and we just simply live
Mm.
from like alignment with the soul and coming through the heart space. So I mean, that's
Mm.
my jam. That's what and I love
Absolutely.
meeting people who are doing this, because I think it's showing everyone else that it's possible, and
Yeah.
bringing that into alignment for all of us, really. So,
Yeah.
what words of wisdom do you have for our listeners, Jen?
Hmm. Words of wisdom. Hmm. I would say what's come through me in the last year, especially, and what's really gotten me through just many situations to keep going, to keep persevering, and to keep exploring, and healing, is allowing, when everything feels crazy, messy, and the how to wants to come in and the fear wants to come in, keeping the focus really simple, and focusing on, and even saying this as an affirmation, my desire to heal, my desire to change is stronger than my desire to stay stuck, is stronger than my desire to be in fear, is stronger than my desire to be in what's familiar, and just allowing that to be the focus,
Yeah.
and keeping the focus on the desire to heal, to have whatever you want, allowing that, whatever it is that people are wanting to feel, expand into, have in their life on any level, whether it's relationships, just healing themselves, emotional healing, creating something amazing, whether it's a business or, anything really, just allowing that to be the focus, and
Yeah.
allowing that focus to be bigger than anything else. Yeah.
Wise words, because because you're describing for me like the journey of transformation as well. Because I think some people think, oh, if they just say in their head, oh, I want like a new car or something, that it's going to be there instantly. And if it isn't, then it's like a failure. And what a
Mm,
lot of people, including myself, don't realize is that we make the change and then it takes time to change. So we have
yeah,
to go through it, and we have to keep reaffirming, just like you're saying, what we really want, so that we can move from there to there. And I love
absolutely.
that. That's really lovely.
Yeah.
So,
And keeping the faith through that time
and
too,
keeping the
even when
faith.
you can't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
trust is a huge part of that.
it is.
So
Yeah.
Jen, how can our listeners and viewers find you?
Sure. So I have a website, and my website is intuitiveguidancebyjen.com. And you can either book directly through my website, or you can email me directly, intuitive1jen@gmail.com. And
Great,
those are the two
perfect.
ways. Yeah,
Excellent. And I'll try and put this in a link to that in our little story thing at the bottom. And
sure.
do you have any kind of gifts or promotions that you'd like to talk about today, or any offers?
I do actually, something pretty big and exciting. So, to whomever is listening, I'm actually going to be offering up to 10 complimentary sessions to the first 10 people who reach out to me and are interested in having a significant experience of my coaching.
Oh my
And that
goodness.
is going to be, yeah, a 1 hour session on Zoom, and they will get 100% just really wonderful intuitive yumminess and coaching and all of everything that they're really wanting through that session.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now that is a really great offer. So thank you for sharing that with us today. That's brilliant.
You're welcome.
Um, so that's
My
going to
pleasure.
be the end of our podcast for today, but I'm sure I'll have you back on, and we'll have a chat about some deeper subjects maybe in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been such an honor to be on this podcast, and yeah, many blessings.